What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Too Good for Theaters video. Today, the New England Patriots got themselves a little bit of revenge, getting their first home victory of the season with a 25-22 win over the division rival New York Jets. So let's get right into this game. Before getting into the actual game here, I just wanted to talk about how much of a culture-defining win this was for your New England Patriots. And the coaching staff, including Gerard Mayo and himself, had been getting a ton of disrespect through the media, and frankly, it was quite deserving because this team, frankly, just had been beating themselves in prior weeks, and this coaching staff has really struggled to make some adjustments and overcome a little bit of adversity on both sides of the football. And to the media's credit, for every reason, they should have been questioning this coaching staff because this coaching staff really hadn't shown the ability to really adjust and really kind of take over some triumphs and hurdle a little bit of adversity. But that's not what happened today. This coaching staff absolutely rallied with this team today, and especially in that second half, even the announcers really kind of touched on it a little bit there. Going down 13-7 in the locker room, your quarterback is out. This team could have easily quit on itself, but a real nice job by the coaching staff and the players of not letting that happen. And it really started with the defense, setting the tone, getting a quick 3-and-out there, getting the Jets off the field, a great punt return by Marcus Jones, as well as great punt coverage by the special teams unit. 61-yard return sets up a short field, and Jacoby Brissett and this Patriots offense get the ground game established and hit some short passes there that results in a Patriots touchdown. And that really kind of speaks to what this coaching staff had kind of struggled with in making adjustments coming out of the half, as well as really just showing that these players were not ready to quit on this team, and just a ton of credit to the coaching staff as well as the players to not really kind of kick themselves while they're down and to come out and really have all the energy that really kind of shifted the tone of the game there. And, of course, there were some ups and downs in that second half, but they kept their heads on their shoulders and they just played through it, and they came out with a W today. So credit to the players and the coaching staff and really helping Gerard Mayo kind of set this culture in. This is a culture-defining win, and whether or not you agree with what Gerard Mayo has been doing as a coach, of whether he's been solid so far given the roster, or if you think that he has kind of showed a little bit of blemishes on this team thus far, you have to give him credit today, and you have to give a ton of credit to the players and the rest of this coaching staff because they overcame a lot of adversity today, and they were able to beat a divisional opponent and really, I don't want to say keep their season alive because most likely this team's not going to be a playoff team, but just to continue to build that culture and kind of have that voice in the locker room of what you've been preaching to these players that you can hopefully carry over into upcoming seasons here with this coaching staff if they are still around, which I think they will be. You have to give them a further leash just due to the fact that this roster was depleted. But a real nice job by this coaching staff this week as well as the players, and it was really just an incredible win on their part, and ton of credit to the coaching staff. Moving on to the actual game here, however, what an emotional roller coaster that was. I mean, the ups and downs of that game, offense, defense, really just kept your heart racing there. But a real nice job from the Patriots offense to really regroup in that second half, and they started to kind of find themselves in a little bit of a rhythm there. They were able to establish a little bit of the ground game. Still had a rough day for the most part, but there were times where Ramondre was able to have a little bit of success running in between the tackles there. And, of course, Jacoby Brissett had that huge scramble on what was the final drive of the game for the Patriots there to set up that touchdown. But a ton of credit to Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I understand he had his struggles early on in this season here, but to stay ready really just kind of speaks to how he is a captain on this team. You really saw how the team kind of rallied around him there. Full of composure, really just a true veteran right there and a true leader. Was able to kind of step up in that crucial moment. And that throw to Kayshon Boutte. When we talk about Jacoby Brissett a lot of the year, it wasn't him kind of anticipating a lot of his throws. That was the perfect throw, however, though. I mean, that's against Sauce Gardner, too. Kayshon Boutte beats him on the post route. And an absolute dime delivered by Jacoby Brissett, throwing the really even before I believe Kayshon Boutte got out of his break on that post route right there. And it was an absolute perfect throw. And a lot of the receivers had a ton of struggles today catching the ball today. Really tried to catch the ball with their chest a lot of times when they should have been catching the ball with their hands. And Kayshon Boutte himself had 2 drops in the game. Kendrick Bourne also had a couple of drops. Tyquan Thornton obviously had that big one on the scramble play where Drake May kind of floated up there for him and was unable to come down with it. But Kayshon Boutte, the biggest catch of the day there, and that really just set up the Patriots, short yardage scenario. And they were able to finish out that drive right there and ultimately the game. And honestly, just a beautiful 2-point conversion play right there. Kind of leaked Ramondre. I believe he was in the slot there, but it was a nice pick route and really just kind of giving the Patriots that field goal lead there. And a real nice job by the defense kind of corralling all the Jets receivers, forcing that incompletion on Garrett Wilson at the end. They're kind of jarring that ball loose, but just keeping them in front, not letting them get to the sideline. And from there, the Patriots were able to take that win. But I know there's going to be a lot of questions heading into this next week, whether or not Drake May is going to be playing or not. But you can't be more happy with what Jacoby Brissett gave you in that second half. And for all the people who are kind of complaining about the end of the first half and the lack of play calling, just running the football, I was 100% fine with that. I mean, the game plan was for Drake May to be in the game, and for that to be cut short like it was, it's still an adjustment to have to kind of cater to a different style of offense under Jacoby Brissett there. So maybe the offensive staff wasn't fully aware of that yet. And through past times this season, against Seattle and against Miami, Jacoby Brissett really did struggle to lead that 2-minute offense at the end of halves. And on a short time, especially when he's thrusted into this game, I was perfectly fine with them just running the clock out. And you don't want to give the ball to Aaron Rodgers at that point, who was really kind of cooking and was kind of tearing apart this Patriots defense there. But I was fully understandable why the Patriots really kind of had that 2-minute drill, just running the clock out and not allowing the Jets really to get the ball back there. So, and it worked out at the end. Certainly you could have questioned this move really if the outcome wasn't different, but nice job there by the Patriots coaching staff of kind of realizing your limitations and just kind of playing towards that next half. And like I said before, the momentum that kind of got picked up from halftime, the energy and the juice that this team came out with, especially after that first 3-and-out by the defense there, really was a turning point in this game. And we saw it from the punt return and then the short field that led to the Ramondre Stevenson touchdown. It was a completely different game from there. And, the Patriots took some hits from the Jets. Aaron Rodgers did what Aaron Rodgers does. He was able to pick apart this defense at times, especially over the middle, and really had a ton of success today throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson, especially in the slot. That's a real tough cover for Marcus Jones and really anyone in the league, especially in the slot. Garrett Wilson's one of the better receivers in this league, and Aaron Rodgers was able to hit him countless times. I will say, though, on the outside, there was a couple plays where Marcus Jones, there was that one where Rodgers really threw that dot. I believe it was on the go-ahead drive for the Jets where Marcus Jones didn't even get a hand on Garrett Wilson there, and Garrett Wilson really just had a free release, a speed release up the sideline. I believe it was on a fly or a go route there, and it was a nice throw by Aaron Rodgers and a great catch by Garrett Wilson. But I would say that this defense did a much better job today in the running game. And I know they still gave up a ton of rushing yards, but I think that they did a better job of kind of not allowing them to really take over the game here. And I think that they played with a sense of toughness that frankly just was not there last week. They didn't get absolutely killed on the ground game. And at times, I felt like the Jets should have ran the ball more. And it was through Jets play calling with that really kind of gave the Jets or gave the Patriots a little bit of a chance there, because I do think that the Jets did have success on the ground game at times. But, looking at that other sideline, you could tell that there's a lot of coaching issues on that sideline as well as ours. But today we came out on top, and I felt like their coaching staff really did a nice job kind of composing themselves. But, you just saw the dysfunction on the Jets sideline, even in the first half. They had to call 3 timeouts because they were going to absorb 3 delay game penalties. And when Aaron Rodgers is under center, that's a veteran. That's one of the best quarterbacks of all time there. That's honestly inexcusable. And you can really just see the dysfunction on the Jets sideline. But what a win here for the Patriots. That was great to see. Hunter Henry just continues to kind of be that lead guy for you. Unfortunately, Demario Douglas was not able to really get going in this game. And luckily, the Patriots really did not need him that much. But this receiver room, it's certainly questionable. And a lot of drops today. Like I said before, really trying to catch the ball with your body instead of your hands today. Kendrick Bourne had a couple of big drops. Kayshon Boutte had a couple of big drops today. And a lot of those took place on third down, where throws across the middle, where Drake May hit Kayshon Boutte, and like I said before, trying to catch the ball with his body and not his hands. That's a first down conversion. That's a drive starter or a drive extender there, and it puts your defense in a bad spot that when you get forced into a 3-and-out, like it did today. But these receivers have got to start catching the ball. And it's been a whole issue this entire season between Jalen Polk. Today it was Kayshon Boutte and Kendrick Bourne. I mean, Tyquan Thornton's had a couple of drops there. But, I mean, this receiver room, I mean, guys is posting on social media after games and stuff like that, but they do not have the right to do that. When you're not producing on the field like you should not be able to go to social media and then claim about how you're in an unfavorable situation or cryptic post. It's honestly inexcusable. And a lot of these receivers on this team, I mean, Javon Baker showing up late to curfew on Sunday in London for the Patriots or Saturday, it really shows the inexperience of this wide receiver room. And honestly, I was a huge fan of both Jalen Polk and Javon Baker before the season, but this draft is looking worse and worse for these Patriots wide receivers here as a week-to-week basis go on. I believe this was Javon Baker's first active game, and really he was only involved in special teams there. I believe he only got one return, but it really just shows how kind of the coaching staff does not trust these young wide receivers, and that's discouraging because these are supposed to be your offensive futures of this team, really. This is supposed to be the seeds to your future there, along with Drake May, and to really see them kind of struggle when on the field, or even if they do get on the field or can't get on the field in general, it really shows the immaturity of these two guys with Jalen Polk as well as Javon Baker. Jalen Polk, I know he had that social media post, but it's more been on-field results where he has been struggling. But Javon Baker has not even been able to get on the field, and a lot of that is because of the off-field shenanigans he's been pulling. Of course, he got pulled over. There was that video, and now he's showing up late to curfew. So it really just kind of shows how these young receivers here have that immaturity, and it's difficult for this coaching staff to kind of preach this message, but just because of the lack of talent on the offensive end, these guys have to play at some point, and they might be going against what your culture is or what you're trying to push towards your culture, but due to the lack of bodies, you might have to put them in the game, and it's unfortunate for this coaching staff how these guys really have kind of not been able to really have these mature approaches off the field or not be able to deal with adversity on the field in that young wide receiver room there, but it is a struggle. But moving over to the defensive end in particular, I felt that Christian Gonzalez had himself a really good day against Davante Adams as well as Garrett Wilson when he was matched up against him. He had that rough pass interference call against him, and honestly, it was a really debatable call. If you're a Jets fan, you want that call because it didn't allow Davante Adams to get that second hand up there, but really, I felt like that was a clean play. He did hold that hand down a little bit there, but there was a lot of hand jockeying between those two on that route. But I believe Davante Adams really only got held to 3 or 2 catches on the day for like 22 yards, and a lot of that was credit to Gonzo there. And a lot of that he actually ended up doing in zone coverage there. But Gonzo, once again, kind of reclaiming that lockdown corner role. Now, he struggled last week and had a little bit of concerns against Stephon Diggs there, but really did a nice job this week of locking down Davante Adams. And you can see the frustration between Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, how kind of they're always going to be in sync there. But Christian Gonzo did a really nice job of kind of blanketing Davante Adams in coverage today, and it really was just a nice day. Marcus Jones had his struggles with Garrett Wilson. Like I said before, it's a very, very difficult matchup there, but I felt like he still made enough plays in this game really to where he was able to hold his own. I do think that he covered Garrett Wilson well for the majority of the game. Unfortunately, the defensive line just did not get a ton of pressure in this game again. I believe they only had 1 sack, and I believe that sack came from Christian Ellis. But really just the lack of pressure. Aaron Rodgers had a lot of times to throw today, and that's in particular why I felt that Marcus Jones was unable to really kind of hold his end against Garrett Wilson on that play-action pass where it really was hit Garrett Wilson across the middle there for the 27. Aaron Rodgers had all day to throw, and you could say that this is kind of a common thing for this defense here. The lack of pressure is kind of putting a ton of pressure on this secondary, and I know they only gave up 22 points today, but the defense did not play their best game. Certainly didn't play their worst game from what they've seen thus far. But I would say that this team today did a lot better of complementary football, and that's why they were able to come out in front. There were times where each area did struggle. Obviously, Gibson had himself a pretty solid day. In the return game, also caught himself a touchdown. But I would say that this was a really good day for the Patriots because both sides of the football were able to overcome adversity. And it just shows how this team really kind of unified together. And hopefully it's a building block that you can move forward. I believe next week you take on the Chicago Bears. So maybe they could bring a little bit of momentum into that match. Hopefully Drake May will be back. But if not, we are understanding what this offense is with Jacoby Brissett. And Jacoby Brissett honestly just played his best game of the season in this game today. So credit to Jacoby Brissett. And real nice job by the offensive staff, like I said before, adjusting in-game adjustments. And that was something that I had a question mark with this coaching staff. And they did a real nice job today in really the worst of ways with having Drake May go down. But that's a big hurdle to overcome. And Alex Van Pelt and that offensive coaching staff, you got to tip the hats off to them. Play calling was much better in that second half, I believe, with Jacoby Brissett than we have seen in other iterations of this team when Jacoby Brissett was under center. But once again, real nice job by the Patriots taking down the New York Jets here. And that's really just an encouraging win, giving the fans who stayed there, or the fans going in general, something to cheer about. Moved to 2-6 on the year. Not going to be a playoff team. Let's not kid ourselves here. It would take a lot for that to happen. But this is a culture-defining win. And hopefully this team can kind of spring a little bit of momentum, keep these game competitives, and kind of just build upon and really kind of keep some core integrities with this team. And I'm very excited to see what happens next week against the Chicago Bears. Patriots get their revenge game against the Jets here. Maybe they can carry over a little bit of momentum into Chicago week next week. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, thank you so much for watching.